September 11th?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of things planned all across our system, and it's going to be, for us, emotional day. I think it is for a lot of people, but I think more for us and for our first responders and things like that, and because we were just so impacted by that day.
Yeah. I'll never forget your voice when you were telling us how the people were lined up. And how everybody just came to the call to action. But today specific.
Well, there's nothing else for them to do, and I think that's the thing. I think we all felt so helpless, when we were seeing that, and the images that are burned into our memory forever. And there was nothing you could do. You couldn't help them. All you could do was pray, and I'm not underestimating the power of prayer, but all you could do was pray and give blood. Those are the two things that you could do.
Yeah, those were the two things, and so many people did them. Your stories were, I'm guessing that the blood bank experience that you guys felt at LifeSouth was probably across the nation. All the blood banks were probably getting that same kind of response from their own communities.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I've spoken to people all over the country, from New York to D.C. to Pennsylvania, and we share stories, and the stories in New York are drastically different because they shut down. There was no blood center in the state of New York for almost a week because it was such an interruption. I mean, they two problems happened. One, they weren't sure if there was another attack, and I think we really, as time's gone on, I think we've really undervalued the impact that had on all of us. It's like, okay, where's the next one? Where's the next one going to happen? And so I remember talking to a friend of mine who was they were the same person I was. They were in charge of all of recruitment, and they're like, Galen, people want to donate, but we don't have any staff to collect them because we can't get our staff into the city to draw blood. And so they were drawing blood all around the city, but not in the city. And the demand was very low, but they still had to take care of the patients that were currently in the hospital. It was a really tumultuous week. So I'm surprised somebody hasn't written a book about, just the blood side. Maybe they have, and I just haven't seen it. But it was a crazy week.
Yeah.
But also too, with all of that debris in the air and soot and whatever else it was, that might have made for a very not a secure type when you give blood, pure. That's probably why
that's why they couldn't collect on the city of Manhattan. I mean, and that's why they had the bulk of their blood drives outside of Manhattan. But it was. Again, you think about the logistics that are involved when a hurricane comes through, right? And how we take now weeks, almost 2 weeks to prepare for a hurricane. This is something that happened on a Tuesday morning. People woke up, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And then literally, bang, the world changed.
Yeah. So I have a question, Galen.
Tough to handle.
I have a question regarding that whole time after 9/11, after everything was, I'm sure it wasn't cleaned up yet, but you guys specifically, LifeSouth, did you have a meeting in which you were discussing ideas of things that should be changed? Did LifeSouth change anything about? Okay, so what kind of changes?
Yeah, absolutely, and this is a benchmark for our organization, because at that point, up until then, we didn't really have somebody in charge over all of recruitment who was really trying to focus our recruitment message across the system. And after that day, I remember it very distinctly. We're in a room, and it's my CEO. And at the time, I was running Ocala, and I was pretty low on the totem pole. And Nancy looked right at me, and she goes, "I need you to coordinate our message. I need you to coordinate what we're going to do from now on for recruitment." Because again, we weren't sure what was coming up. All we were told I remember this, on September 11th, is that they were going to, Shands was being activated for their burn unit because they were going to transport some people to Shands. And then it took 2 or 3 days for us to realize there was nobody there. And so from that moment on, we started to focus on, people need to understand that blood needs to be there before an event like this happens.
Right,
it's too late. And that's the message that we really started with, is like, all right, thank you for donating on the 11th and the 12th. But if that were to happen and they needed blood, you would have had to donate on the 8th and the 9th. And that's why I talk about all the time how it takes 3 days to get your blood, and from your body to the hospital. And that was the start of that whole message.
Wow.
I'm convinced that your daily message of that resonates beyond our community. I'm guessing people hear it here, carry it elsewhere, and that message that you deliver every day is by word of mouth. After it's by word of radio, I guess it's by word of mouth from people who hear it. Take it elsewhere, and I'm sure it's affected communities all over the country.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm in charge of the Southeast, and that's what I control with LifeSouth in the Southeast and that message, and that's what we talk about a lot. We did that for 2 years, and then I went to a conference and I spoke about this because I was on a panel of there are four blood centers that were on this panel to talk about how you deal with a natural disaster, terrorism, or anything that impacts your community to a great deal where the blood supply is interrupted or greatly impacted in some way. So whether that's a 9/11 or it's a hurricane or whatever. And so I was one of the four, and one was from Oklahoma, from the Oklahoma City bombing, which was really the blueprint on how we handle all our disasters. 9/11. So there was somebody from New York, there was somebody from Pennsylvania, and then there was me. And so I was pretty honored to be chosen for that. So. And we all talked about the same thing, how it's our job and our responsibility to make sure that our community is aware of when their blood is being used and how it's being used, and that we're being good stewards of it. Because the other side of that was, of course, is everybody's like, well, what are you doing with all this blood that you're collecting? And, 90% of the country, blood centers just stopped collecting after the 12th, LifeSouth included.
Right.
But the Red Cross, and I eventually worked for the Red Cross in D.C., and I found this to be true. The Department of Defense, the White House, some people in Congress are saying, keep collecting because we don't know what's coming next. We're going to need blood. And so that's why they kept sending out the message of, we need blood, we need blood, we need blood, because they were preparing.
Right. Well, it is what you do, combined with what our law enforcement does to prevent it. There was a story this morning, a 20-year-old Florida man. What city was he from? Winter Haven, I think it was. He was going to make a pipe bomb, and he was going to attack a 9/11 commemoration event in Kansas City, Missouri. He is from Orange Park, Florida. Where's Orange Park? Up near Jacksonville?
I think so, yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
and so when you talk about the Oklahoma City bombings, that's a homegrown terrorist right there. No matter what you call Timothy McVeigh, he is a homegrown terrorist, or was.
He is, yeah.
And so you have those kind of guys here, as well as guys overseas, like the Benghazi attacks, for example.
Yes.
That they choose this date. So this is a date that our law enforcement, they are on their toes. It's a nerve-wracking day for them.
Oh, yeah.
And our military.
Yeah,
it's a nerve-wracking day for you guys.
Too. And, yeah, and again, it's something we all have to be vigilant of, and think about how, airlines is the easy one to see that's probably changed the most, but it's not just that; it's all of our travel. It's when we go to any sporting event.
Right.
It's our day in, day out life has been changed dramatically.
Right. So,
I think we've been resolute in that we haven't allowed it to impact our lives to the point where we're not doing anything. We're not living in fear of that.
No.
But we are a lot more vigilant.
We're given warnings about traveling overseas. When we come back, I want to tell you some of the warnings that foreign visitors are given about coming here.
Gosh.
Where do you hear some of these warnings? We'll take a little break and be right back with Galen Unold from LifeSouth.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be hot and humid today. Sunshine mixed with clouds. It'll lead to a thunderstorm in the afternoon. High 90 to 93. Tonight, some clearing. Shower thunderstorm near the coast this evening. Low 71 to 75. Tomorrow again, sunshine mixed with clouds. Couple showers and thunderstorms. High of 82 to 88. An afternoon thunderstorm for Sunday with a high of 81 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
1370 WOCA.
18 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Galen, Unold from LifeSouth Community Blood Centers on the phone. September 11th and Galen go together for me because we've had some heated arguments over the years about September 11th. That won't happen today because in the past 14 years I have pretty much accepted the entire story. Mm-hmm. And now I have, of course, evidence from, I can't remember the guy's name, Peter Spence is what I keep thinking, but I'll have to look it up, who explained about Building 7, so I'm finally satisfied with everything, so no more conspiracy theories, Galen.
It was entertaining, though, with you and Galen.
Was it really?
I just didn't understand it. But,
no, you didn't understand. Oh, gosh, here we go. Don't even do this.
I love this.
Don't
Go
even
ahead.
No!
Jump in there.
Because I have the travel warnings that foreigners get when they're coming here.
Yes.
The travel warnings that foreigners get when they're coming here. Before I tell you anything, Galen's important message about donating blood, and there is probably no more person who can do it as eloquently as Galen.
No, he's the best.
Penn Flooring is who makes that possible. They provide quality customer service with a family touch. They've been doing it over 25 years. Remodel your home. Make sure that floor isn't neglected. Get a new floor, whether it's carpeting or tile or wood flooring. They will take care of you. They'll make sure it's beautiful. They'll show you how to take care of it. They'll install it, and they'll answer all of your questions at their showroom where you can see samples at 1201 Southwest 17th Street by the McKay-Williams Bridge, named after two great Ocalans.
Yep.
Which is just a few blocks from Pine Avenue here in Ocala. All right, you ready for this?
I think so, yes.
All right, here we go. Canada is warning Canadians visiting America to watch out
for Galen.
That's right. Watch out for
Galen. To watch out for guns. Watch out for guns at nighttime. Canada warns its citizens that guns are much more common in the U.S. than in other countries.
That's not true at all. Have you? I mean, you look at where people live in Canada in the north.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's more prevalent than Quebec or Toronto, but guns are a part of the frontier. Yeah, that's just silly.
Let me read you the exact quote. The possession of firearms and the frequency of violent crime are generally more prevalent than in Canada. Within large metropolitan areas, violent crime more commonly occurs in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, particularly from dusk to dawn. Verify official neighborhood crime statistics before planning an outing. That's what it says.
Absolutely. They don't they get TV? I mean, don't they watch?
Let's see. Switzerland warns their visitors, do not pee in the streets of America.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good advice.
is that common?
Switzerland
I
is
don't know. I've never been to Switzerland.
careful to note that the United States takes a very hard-line stance against nudity, especially when kids are involved. Also, it cautions don't pee on things. This is the exact quote, translated. The legal system can be very different from one state to another and is often inspired by more rigid moral principles than in Switzerland. For example, bathing topless or without a shirt is forbidden even for children, as is urinating in the street or taking partially naked pictures of children even at home, unquote.
Gosh.
There you go.
You can take, yeah.
Germany warned their visitors to the United States, do not talk to
Tell
prostitutes.
them.
Do not talk to prostitutes.
Yeah, you might lose $25.
It says in many this is
Takes a
the
lot more than $25.
in many U.S. states it is a criminal offense to engage in sexual activities with prostitutes. Even talking to a prostitute may be punishable by law.
Yes, they'll get you.
I didn't even know that.
We should interview one.
China is warning their visitors to America, don't cut in line.
Ooh.
Well, you would, isn't that crazy? You would think that would be a common standard.
Yeah. In the United States, this is what it says, of course, translated. In the United States, when many people are lining up for services at some distance away from the window, wait your turn in line. Failing to observe this convention could lead to unnecessary disputes.
That's pretty good.
Holy mackerel. Let's see.
I guess that's why everything's so orderly at the Chinese buffet.
Russia. Russia. Listen to what it says in the Russian pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
It says the American dream is not real.
Of course it's not.
That's what it says. It says the American dream originates from here, as does another model, the special democratic character of American society with its incredible freedom. However, due to the presence of the young
Aristocracy?
Thank you. Already formed in the 20th century and the specific model of American society, inequalities in socioeconomic status between rich and poor are no lesser than in any other country in the world. They're trying to make sure they don't stay here. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, because there were a lot of defectors once upon a time.
Here's a warning from those traveling from Austria.
Well, there was a lot of people who tried, that's for sure.
From Austria, listen to this. The tap water tastes gross. It says tap water, while not very tasty because it's chlorinated, is usually considered safe. How about that?
That's not untrue. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's, yeah. Austria, you'd think of Austria and first of all, you know, all you're saying is the hills are alive with music. But secondly, you're thinking they've got some really good water.
Yeah.
Coming off the Alps.
I guess so. All right, Mexican.
I mean, let's be honest. Those are the two things that popped in your brain: water and the sound of music.
That's right. Julie Andrews spinning in the hills.
That's it.
All right. In Mexico, they warned their visitors to America to expect harassment in Arizona.
Oh.
It says all Mexican citizens should be bothered or questioned without motive at any moment. Should be or could be?
All of them should be?
I'm sorry. Could be. I'm sorry. Could be.
Who wrote that? Donald Trump?
Yeah. If you don't have the right documentation, you could be detained, it says, in Arizona.
No. What's the sheriff's name out there?
Oh, gosh. I can't remember.
That guy?
Yeah, I can't remember his
Yeah, I know who you mean, yeah.
He's loved by as many people as he's hated by. So
Yeah.
awesome.
That's a sign of a good leader.
Another warning from Russia. Taxi drivers know nothing. The Russian government is not impressed with the U.S. taxi drivers. Here's what it says, translated. Taking a taxi is not always convenient, as most American taxi drivers are recent immigrants who speak English poorly. It often turns out that the tourist knows the city better than the taxi driver.
Sometimes.
It's not completely untrue. But they do have something called GPS in this country.
I've never...
And, you know, what's interesting, Larry, is the Iron Curtain that surrounds Russia doesn't allow the GPS signal in.
Wow.
What?
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Okay.
Come on.
Now I got
All right, here's one from Orlando. Listen to this.
help me out a little bit.
The United Kingdom warns its tourists to Florida. Gasoline stations, petrol stations is what they say, that do not display the price of fuel usually charge considerably more than the national average for a gallon of fuel. They're often found close to tourist destinations and airports and notoriously near to the Orlando International Airport.
That's not true at all. It's not even legal.
No. Have to post a
That's
price.
highly illegal. That's called gouging.
Okay. Right, some more here. Stay away from the East Coast. China says.
Yes.
China says
away.
the West Coast of the United States is safer than the East Coast. Overall, the Western United States is safer than the eastern portion, and a city is relatively safe during the day compared to at night on the West Coast.
No, you live there.
Compton is better. I mean, think about it. Seriously, I mean, San Diego is one of the greatest cities in the world. San Francisco is a great city. I mean, on the east coast of the United States, you've got Baltimore and D.C., which routinely leads the country in, homicide.
Here's one from China. The Chinese government warns its citizens to be polite while driving.
Smart.
It says, be courteous to other vehicles while driving unless it is absolutely necessary. Americans easily become engaged in what is known as road rage in America.
Yeah, absolutely. We do.
Avoid using your avoid using your horn and avoid other behavior that can easily anger other drivers. Raising your middle finger could cause a dispute. Raising your middle finger could cause a dispute. Yeah, especially on the East Coast.
That's good advice, Larry. Let's be honest.
That is good advice.
Can you imagine some poor dude reading that? Kind of, he's living his dream. He's coming to see Mickey Mouse, and he reads that as he's getting on the plane, going, "Okay, all right, do not raise my middle finger." Is the middle finger a bad thing in China?
I don't know. I thought that was universal, but I guess not.
I don't know. I don't know if that's cultural or what. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to change my plans from going to, I don't know, Hoboken, New Jersey. I'm going to decide to go to the West Coast." Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Here's something from Austria.
You know who would say that though? You have that. Whenever you go on a trip, you always have that one relative who always finds the negative in everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're going to go to Disney World. Well, everybody there has a gun.
Goofy has a gun. All right.
Oh, watch out for that Goofy guy. He's going to spit all over you.
Yeah.
Here's one.
Get close.
They all pee in the street.
And they cut in line.
And that's why there isn't a country called Switzerland at Epcot.
There's not? There's no Switzerland?
Is there?
All right, here's one from another one from Austria. It says the rights of homosexual couples are liberal. Also, the cohabitation of unmarried couples in hotels can take place without any problems.
Oh.
Where's this? What country is this?
Austria.
All right, yeah. I mean, again, water, prostitution, sound of music, open gay policy.
All right, Galen, one more.
Except in Kentucky.
Galen, one more. One more from Canada. Ready? This is the last one from Canada. Canada says, if you're on an American roadway with a full wallet, in the eyes of thousands of cash-hungry cops, you're a rolling ATM.
Is that why they go 45 kilometers an hour?
In the eyes of thousands of cash-hungry cops, you're a rolling ATM. Holy mackerel. That is great.
We all know if that place is Lawton, bad, right?
Look, he's got a Canadian license plate. There's my meal ticket.
That's why they drive so dang slow.
That's got to be the answer, Galen.
Now I'm going to have a meeting with the Prime Minister to get those travel restrictions changed.
There you go.
Galen, 10 seconds. Where's the Bloodmobile today?
Bloodmobile today is actually at Scoops Ice Cream, and then we're also closed to the public.
Oh, yummy. That's on Highway 200, just east of 484.
Thank you again.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. It's been 14 years since the 9/11 attacks and this vow from President George W.
The United States will hunt down and